Welcome to my presentation. In this presentation, we will look at some examples using proportions rule. Let us take an example, and in this example, we want to solve for the variable. And in this example, we have x over 5 is equal to 9 over 45. Let's say we have a proportion in this manner, and we want to solve for x. And to do that, we will break it down into these different steps, and we'll use the proportions property or proportions rule to be able to arrive at the solution. The way the proportions rule is explained is as follows. If we have two ratios, if the first ratio is A over B, and if the second ratio is C over D, we can write the proportions rule as follows. We can multiply the numerator of the first fraction to the denominator of the second fraction, A times D, and then equate that to multiplying the denominator of the first fraction to the numerator of the second fraction, B times C. So we will use this and then be able to use the addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division properties to be able to arrive at the unknown quantity x. So in our case, the problem we have, the two ratios we have is x over 5, and x is the unknown, is equal to 9 over 45. And when we use this proportions property, and when we cross multiply these, this is the way we can write it out. X times 45 is equal to 9 times 5. X times 45 is equal to 9 times 5. We want to solve for x, and to get there, we want to isolate the x term, and therefore we're going to divide by 45 on both sides of the equation. And when we do that, this is how we can explain that. X times 45 divided by 45. We'll put a circle around it, indicating that that is the term we are introducing into this equation, 9 times 5 divided by 45. And when we see terms which are similar in the numerator and denominator, we can cancel them out. And then in here, we know our 9 times table, and therefore 9 times 1 is 9, 9 times 5 is 45. And we have a 5 in the numerator, 5 in the denominator, so 5, we can cancel that out, and therefore what we are left here is with x as equal to 1 over 1, which is same as saying x is equal to 1. The value of x is equal to 1. By using this proportions property, we were able to find the value of this unknown, of this variable quantity, which is, in this case, happens to be equal to 1. Let's look at another example. Let us say in this example, we want to solve, let's say we want to solve 12 over 7 is equal to x over 42. And this time we want to solve for x. We're going to use the proportions rule and then be able to use that rule to solve for the variable x. So and the proportions rule is telling us that if we have two ratios, A over B, and if we were to equate it to another ratio, which we call it as C over D, the proportions rule is telling us that we can cross multiply the numerator denominator of these fractions and then be able to arrive at the unknown quantity. In here, A times D is equal to B times C is the way we can write it out. Therefore, in our case, the problem we have is 12 over 7 is equal to x over 42. And if we were to cross multiply these, the way we can write it out is as follows. 12 times 42 is equal to x times 7. We want to find the value of x. Therefore, we're going to divide by 7 on both sides, because we want to get rid of the 7 which is in here. and to isolate the x variable, we need to get rid of this 7, and the only way we can get rid of that is by dividing by that quantity there. Therefore, let us write this as step number 2. Divide in this expression, 12 times 42 is equal to x times 7. X times 7, we're going to divide by 7 on both sides. Divide by 7 on both sides. And when we do that, this is what we're going to come up with. 12 times 42 divided by 7 is equal to x times 7 divided by 7. And then, as we mentioned, when we have similar terms in the numerator and denominator, we can simplify them. And then here we have, this is 7. We have 42 in the numerator and 7 in the denominator. We see that 42 is the multiples of 7. When we recall our 7 times table, 7 times 1 is 7, 7 times 6 is 42. Therefore, from here we see that the left hand side simplifies to 12 times 6 divided by 1. 12 times 6 is 72 is equal to x. Therefore, the value of x is equal to 72. And by using this proportions rule, we were able to find the value of this variable, which happens to be in this particular problem as equal to 72. In my next presentation, we should look at some more examples related to proportions.